If you've worked in content marketing for a while, then you've probably heard terms like Cornerstone Content, Skyscrapers, 10x Content, and Pillar Pages used interchangeably. But there are some important, albeit subtle, differences between these four terms. I'm Jeffrey with Overthink Group, and right now we're going to look at those differences, beginning with Cornerstone Content. Now, Cornerstone Content has been around for a while in the content strategy world, and it comes from the way that people used to build structures. So, in the old days, you wanted to build a building, you had to lay one piece of the foundation first, and that stone was usually placed at the corner, and then the rest of the structure was built out from around that. Hence, cornerstone. It was a foundational and, in fact, the most important stone of the building. That's where we get the idea of cornerstone content from. It's a foundational piece of content to your content strategy and also to your customer's journey. And here's why. There are certain concepts that a customer is going to need to understand in order for them to do business with you. For example, if you're selling ice cream, it would be really important that the person that you're talking to understand what a scoop is, what's a cup, what's a cone. Otherwise, that transaction would get really weird. You're selling things that are more complex than ice cream, and so you're going to need some content that makes sure people understand what that is and why it's important. A great example of a company that does this is Marketo. Marketo runs a customer engagement and marketing automation platform. It helps people generate leads. And so they have written the complete guide to lead generation on their website. It helps people understand what lead generation is, why it's important, and how to do it. Now, as you can imagine, there's a lot of opportunity for internal linking with this content. And so you'll be blogging about different things that you do. When you mention this aspect of your business, that's usually a spot where you would link to that piece of Cornerstone content. And so as you're looking at Cornerstone content, you can kind of get the idea that although a lot of Cornerstone content is long because it's comprehensive and educational, it's not really about the length that makes it Cornerstone content. It's about the function of educating people who are coming to your site. Now, there's another kind of very popular content that content marketers use, and that's skyscraper content. This was made popular by Brian Dean around 2014 when he said that if you go to a new city and you look at a skyline, your eyes aren't drawn to the shorter buildings, they're drawn to the tallest ones, the skyscrapers. And he believed that the same goes for websites when they're trying to build backlinks from other websites. And so he developed the skyscraper technique. It's a link building technique that content marketers use to get other websites pointing to their site. And they do this by Googling a term that they want to rank for, analyzing everything that currently ranks for that term, and then writing something better, something more impressive. Then they go to all the people that have already linked to the incumbent content and ask them to link to theirs. And the idea is that if you truly wrote something that was better than what's currently out there, then it should be easy to get those links. And that's great for SEO, and it works for a lot of people. Now, the conversation around skyscraper content tends to revolve around content length. It's a technique that works really well for writers of content. And a great example of skyscraper content would be Snack Nation's website. They have several skyscrapers where they said, we want to rank for example, healthy office snacks. And so they wrote a list of about 50 healthy office snack options that different companies could consider in their employee perks and wellness programs. And it ranks for healthy office snacks. So this technique does work for a lot of people. It's worked for me, it's worked for my clients. Then we have something very similar to skyscraper content, and it's called 10x content. This was made popular by Rand Fishkin in 2015, where he said that, a lot of people are just trying to create unique content. Not necessarily remarkable content, just something that hasn't been made before. And it's really difficult to just get a new, unique blog post to do anything for you because there's so much content that's already out there. So what Rand recommended doing, if you want to get traffic and you want to get links and if you want to build a great brand, is figure out what people are Googling, look at the intent behind that search, and then make something 10 times better than anything else out there. And for Rand, it goes beyond just length. He recommended investing in really good and impressive UI and UX, great design, trustworthiness. The idea is just make something so phenomenally good and so phenomenally helpful that your competitors would look at it and say, there's no way that we can compete with this. They've already sank so much time and effort into making this. We can't go there. And so 10x content is very appealing to companies that like educating and impressing people. If you pull 10x content off really well, then you get a lot of links. It also builds your brand because people think of you as a brand that makes amazing things and helped them understand a certain concept very well. An important note here is that while Cornerstone content and Skyscraper content usually refer to just one piece of content at a time, 10x content does not. In fact, there are entire websites that have been labeled 10x content. A great example of this is isidewith.com. They allow you to take a quiz on various political issues, and then they show you how well you align with the political candidates that are running in a current election. And so that's really helpful. It's at least 10 times better than flipping through a voter's pamphlet. Now that brings us to pillar content. And pillar content became popular in 2017 when HubSpot started recommending a new approach to content strategy in light of SEO. Now, pillar content is built around the idea that you want to rank for searches within certain topics. Kind of similar to to Cornerstone content, where you want to make sure that people are getting educated on foundational elements of your business. Pillar content says, if we want to educate people on certain topics, then there's a smart way of doing this. And it's by creating one page that is very, very comprehensive, almost like the encyclopedia entry on that topic. And then subsequently publishing a cluster of supplementary blog posts that look at very specific and detailed aspects of that topic, answering certain questions, interviewing influencers on the topic, that sort of stuff. And then all of those supplementary pages would link back to the pillar page. It's a great internal linking approach, and it's a smart way to clean up your blog if you want to build more internal links and get more organic traffic. It works for a lot of people, it works for me, and it works for my clients. The focus here is on ranking for specific searches within a topic, and it's more about the content strategy of your site as a whole than it is in reference to just one piece of content. A pillar doesn't stand alone, it is connected to supplementary articles, and usually you're not just going to have one pillar page on your website. A great example of pillar content is on buffer.com. Buffer wrote the definitive guide to Instagram marketing, and then they went through their blog, and if you read Buffer's blog, you know that they have a ton of content. And they found every article that was about Instagram marketing or referred to Instagram marketing and linked that article back to their guide to Instagram marketing. And now they rank very well for search surrounding Instagram marketing. It's a great example of how the pillar page or pillar content has worked for them, and it can work for you too. Now you're probably picking up on the fact that these four terms are not mutually exclusive. In fact, there are pieces of content that fall into each of these categories and do so very well. So now you have an idea of what these 4 terms mean, how they're different, and how they're not mutually exclusive. You could cover multiple bases with one piece. But it's important, because if you're forming a content strategy, then you need to make sure that everyone on your team is on the same page. So that when you say, I want to make a piece of pillar content, everyone knows, yeah, this piece of pillar content is going to need some supplementary articles, and they're not thinking that all they have to do is write a skyscraper. That's just one example of how knowing this can help you with your content strategy. Again, I'm Jeffrey. I run Overthink Group. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.